In education today, learning recovery has never been more important, and Agile Education Marketing is shining a spotlight on the districts leading the way. With our Districts of Distinction initiative, we analyzed comprehensive U.S. district performance data from 2019 to 2024, focusing on improvements in key areas like English, language arts, math, and science. We didn't stop there. We also interviewed district leaders and examined strategies like leadership initiatives, collaboration, and community involvement. What did we find? 10 visionary school districts making remarkable strides in academic success, even in the face of unprecedented challenges. These districts aren't just addressing learning recovery, they're thriving through creativity, critical thinking, and bold innovation. From strong leadership to impactful community partnerships, they're raising the bar for academic recovery and setting new standards in education. A brief look behind the scenes at how Districts of Distinction began, from Agile CIO Verlin Stevens and education contributor Meredith Biesinger.
What made you think of this project? What inspired you to do Districts of Distinction, or what is now Districts of Distinction?
It just was, it's following the data. I hadn't literally, this started with the idea of, I just want to look at our student performance data and see what interesting things might be there. And so I had no concept that it was going to go this direction when I first started looking at it. I love a good story. So I'm always trying to take data and then develop a story around it. And as I started digging into the data, this is the story that developed. I certainly had no concept when I started digging into student performance data that this was going to morph into Districts of Distinction, just where the data led me.
I love that. I think one of the things that's most inspiring about Districts of Distinction, or what is now Districts of Distinction, the data coming to life, is that it's something that's going to speak to every educator in some form or fashion, because whether it's relatable for their school district, but they're going to relate to it in some way as a teacher, or they have a friend teaching in a district that's similar, or a family member, you know what I mean? And so they can take this information that they've learned from, this project and watching these videos or these sound bites, and like, oh my gosh, we could do this, or I need to call my friend in Tennessee or wherever and tell them about this. And so it has that ripple effect. But I really love learning the individual stories of the superintendents and their districts and how they came to be, where they came from and where they are now, and their future going forward, what their plan moving forward. How will they keep this progress and keep this momentum and continue to succeed?
Yeah, no, I think it really took on, like I said, a very different life than just crunching the numbers and trying to highlight some interesting things out of the numbers. It really became a much more interesting project and a much more compelling story that not only is of interest to marketers and salespeople who are our customers, but really educators.
And you're spotlighting school districts who maybe at one time were the underdog and now they have progressed, and you want to recognize them and honor them, but we also want to learn how, so we can take this and inspire other districts throughout the country.
We've got nationwide data. We've got 7 years of it or something. And I really decided and honed in on, there was so much focus around COVID and learning loss and learning recovery and delayed learning recovery. And that's really, the thing that was exciting about it is that's where the story took us. It was interesting, but as we started really looking at the districts and talking to people in the districts and watching their promo videos and things, the human element became the much more interesting and much more compelling part.
In this Districts of Distinction spotlight that they put into place to, boost their scores and have positive data. But more than that is you're creating an environment of not only, enhanced test scores and progress, but also positive support and morale and kindness. I mean, you're really creating an entire new environment for these kids and teachers to walk into every day. And that's tremendous. I mean, people don't want to walk away from that. And I think that that really showed in our interview with Dr. Williams, is that he really fostered, and not just him, the school district and community really fostered an environment of, we are here and we care about you and we are going to help you succeed in one capacity or another.
From the district leader, Superintendent Robert Williams of Hattiesburg Public School District.
Oftentimes, when you're trying to improve, you spend too much time focusing on your deficits and your areas of weakness. Where if you spend a little bit more time on your strengths, there is some thought that your strengths can actually lift your weaknesses. And so one of the things we did was coming in and we did a SWOT analysis, and we really focused on, okay, we're a D district, but at the end of the day, most parents are really concerned about what you're doing for my child. The community is concerned about, outside of a school rating, what is the school district doing to make us a better community? So we did a SWOT analysis. We focused on our strengths. We knew that we had a strong CTE program. We knew we had close proximity to not only 2 universities, there's also a branch of Pearl River Community College that's in Hattiesburg. So we have 2 universities and 1 branch of a community college in our school district. And so we really wanted to focus in on that. We knew we had neighborhood schools, so we wanted to focus in on that. And I said this when we were D district, and I said the same thing when we were A district. And I know it's maybe an unpopular statement, but alphabets and these grades are things that make adults feel good. I don't know of a university that awards scholarships because of the rating of a school district. So our focus really does go back to our vision, a model teaching and learning community that graduates every student prepared for success in life, college, and the workforce.
There has been just huge strides made in the last, from my point of view, 5 years, but probably much longer than that. Looking at the 9 schools that you have, is that correct? You have 9 schools?
Yes, we have 8 schools in the alternative school.
8 schools in the alternative school. And so I was looking at the 2019, 2020 data, and there were some schools in there that at the time were graded Fs, Bs, Cs. And now when you look at the data, they're all As and Bs. One of those being the high school, which is a tremendous feat. And so that was one of the many reasons we wanted to talk to you today, is to ask you, how did you do this? This is something I know you and the teachers and the community are very proud of. So do you want to speak a little bit about that?
So I would say definitely anytime we say you, it's definitely the plural pronoun of you. And it definitely has not been an individual task. It's been a collective task of parents, students, teachers, and the community buying in to the work that we do. I would say it probably begins with our strategic plan, and really staying aligned with our strategic plan and the vision that the Hattiesburg Public School District Board of Trustees that they've laid out before us, which is to create a model teaching and learning environment that graduates every student prepared for success in life, college, and the workforce. That's something we believe in. That's something we talk about. That's not just a picture or a frame that hangs on the wall or a binder that goes on the shelf. We really, truly believe in preparing students for life, life after high school, because regardless of what happens to students after their 12th grade year, life is going to touch all of them. So we want to make sure that we are providing them with opportunities to be successful, whether they choose to enroll at another institution of higher learning, whether they choose to enlist into the military, or whether they choose to be employed in a job, profession, and or career. So I had an opportunity to some gentleman by the name of Principal Kafele. Principal Kafele. He speaks all over the country. He was a nationally recognized principal in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay.
He came to our school district maybe 10, 12 years ago, and he really talked about mission and vision. But he walked us through an exercise. He really challenged us, what is your why? And so after everyone went around the room, we basically gave the corporate why. He said, now, I want you to really think about your real why. And from that, it really, and I've probably been in education 14 years at this time. It really made me go back and revisit our mission statement. But I think we ended up going back, and our mission statement at the middle school at the time was just to educate. We wanted our kids to be academically proficient and socially responsible. So academically proficient, hey, we want our students to be on grade level or above. Socially responsible, we want for you to not only be a good citizen, but how do you as a citizen make the community around you better?
I say it all the time, that know who you're talking to and talk to them about what's relevant to them.
There is tremendous value in the Districts of Distinction project because you are recognizing the hard work of educators and you're spotlighting school districts who maybe at one time were the underdog and now they have progressed, and you want to recognize them and honor them, but we also want to learn how, so we can take this and inspire other districts throughout the country who may be experiencing the same struggles. And so I think that is very inspiring as an educator, as a parent, as anybody involved in education, learning their how and their why, and also bringing that data to life.
A lot of times we focus on the fruit, but we forget about the root. But when you talk students in third grade, you're establishing the root system of that student's life.